Hey, everybody, welcome back to Black Lotus Live, where we talk about all things strange and unusual. And tonight we are going to be talking about several different triangles, not just the Bermuda Triangle. There are other triangles that are equally mysterious and weird out there. But first, I want to get this rolling by saying that please, like and subscribe and hit the little bell and please share it around. We really appreciate that. Um, so let's just jump right into this then. I want to start by talking about the most famous triangle of all, and that's the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle. Ralph and I did a show on Black Lotus about 2 years ago about the Bermuda Triangle. And I found that there are some solid explanations behind this thing. I found out that there really aren't more disappearances in this section of water than there are anywhere else. It's just that there's a high flow of traffic going through there. And so it's more likely that accidents are going to happen, you know? So I think that that makes sense. There was also an explanation about methane bubbles coming up from the bottom of the ocean, and possibly that was causing ships to capsize and, even so much as to knock planes out of the sky.
Right.
That makes sense.
Bubble coming up and hitting the planes.
Yeah. And then they have other incidents where they did find the ships, but they didn't find any people. Like
I never understood that.
Yeah, well, I think I have an explanation for that.
What?
I think that people are stupid in general. And if you're on a yacht, you're having a party, and you jump in the water to go swimming, sharks exist. And if they have a feeding frenzy, nobody's ever going to find you. They may find your boat. They're not going to find you, though. So yeah, I don't know.
But what about these boats that have a lot of people that just disappear and are still empty when they're found?
And the food's still on the table and everything hot, and like they just abruptly left.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I don't get is the cases like that. Because some of the other cases, it could be things. Because there's a lot of other explanations, like air bombs and 100-foot waves and things like that people say could be doing it. But when you just come across an empty boat with all the table settings and everything normal, like if nothing happened, then you begin to wonder what really did happen.
Yeah,
like a ghost ship.
What about the guy that went through the wormhole?
Who I recall that, but who was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember his name right off, but I've got things written down somewhere. But yeah, he went through like a time warp.
That was his claim. Yeah.
Yeah, but how much can we believe that, though?
Well, he was supposed to have left at one point and then got to another point at record time. Like it would have been impossible at that point. And I think he had a Cessna.
And what did he say he experienced in this wormhole?
It was like a tunnel, like a cloud tunnel, and it just went, he just went right through the very center of it. It was like he was encapsulated in it. And I believe he was. I think his dad was with him, or him and his dad went on that same route again. One of the two. But I always also questioned. Okay, we have the Bermuda Triangle. I've always questioned. What about with things being missing, or the navigation system and whatnot? The frequencies being messed up on it. What about all the quartz, like crystals and stuff that, sand is silica, and it, all of that ties in together. And they was always looking for Atlantis. Maybe that's down there too. Maybe all the huge crystals that Atlantis was built up to be made from. Maybe there's a tie-in there.
Messing with the navigational systems.
Right.
Well, I think anything's possible, but I don't really buy the Atlantean thing being in that area. I think if Atlantis existed, I think it exists closer out to the Mediterranean Sea, and but that's just my opinion about it.
But then again, we don't know how many civilizations and land masses have gone either.
Well, that's true, absolutely.
I mean, you've got Lumira and Mu too, that was in connection with Atlantis.
Yeah. But again, that's on the other side of the world. And so why would Plato know about it?
Then again, Edgar Cayce did readings in that on it as well.
What was his finding?
Was in that area. Was in the Bermuda Triangle area.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I have respect for Cayce. I really do.
Oh, yeah, much respect. I mean, he's a pioneer in his own time, too.
Yeah.
When's the last time we've actually got a story from Bermuda?
I want to say it occurred, the last one was about 3 years ago. And it was one of those deals where they found the boat, or no, I'm sorry, they didn't find the boat. Boat just ended up missing. And then they sent out a search and rescue team, and they ended up missing. And the Florida government called off the search after about 2 weeks. And the reason being is because they're like, if they're out there, they're not really out there anymore. They've been eaten. Because there's a lot of sharks in the Florida waters, Yeah,
but they're not going to eat the planes and stuff like that, that are coming up missing as well. You just got to really be open to, any possibility. It could be going through a portal or something.
Well, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it's aliens.
Don't go Dr. Hair on me.
Well, but my other thought is too, though, is like even if they're missing, could they have sunk? And is it
and still they've never found it?
Yeah,
but they've never found anything.
But here's the question. I wasn't joking around about aliens, but it's hypothesized that it could possibly be the result of aliens. But my question is why? Why that area? I mean, is there an underground base there? And nobody's ever come up with anything.
Well, but there's other triangles. So would it be the same thing for those other triangles as well?
China's got one as well.
Right. In
fact, the direct opposite.
I've heard that triangle, the Chinese government has forbidden anybody to come through it anymore.
Oh. Yeah, I heard that it was even worse than the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, again, my question is, why would aliens be doing this in this particular spot?
Or that particular spot as well.
Right.
And who's to say that there isn't ones? Why not? Really?
Well, maybe they have
less people around. I mean, there's crafts all over the place, and they don't even have to be seen. They can cloak. They don't have to be seen.
I'm wondering if there is civilizations under there, though.
I was just going to say that, Terry. Yeah, I was just going to say the same exact thing. I've heard of that. I've heard of where people have been taken down there for a period of time and then brought back. I don't know why, but yeah.
Well, if they were taken
why
down
would
there,
be?
If they were taken down there, what did they see or witness or how is that different than?
It's been a while since I read, but I had read that there was and that was in a book I have where they were taken down there. There was a couple of them, and they were kept for a certain period of time and then brought back. But then again, you hear about civilizations in the mountains. Look at Mount Shasta.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's not underwater.
You've been through the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Yeah, I've been through it.
Yeah, I have too.
I'm still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
They brought
You
you
think
back. Yeah.
When I went through it, I was on a cruise, and earlier in the week, it was a 7-day cruise, and earlier in the week, what we were supposed to do it was going to be our last stop, and it was at a privately owned island by Norwegian, but earlier in the week, the port had been wiped out by a storm. And so in order to make up time, they just decided, okay, we're just going to weigh anchor here, and we're just going to hang out here for the day. And I was never so worried in my life because we were pretty much smack dab in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
I think I would be cool with that.
Well,
I just got drunk and tried to forget it.
Well, look at it like this. Everybody's going at some point in time. You might as well check it out. I'm sick like that.
You were mentioning the land triangles. We have one here in Nevada. It's called the Nevada Triangle, and people go missing in this triangle all the time. And sometimes people go missing and then they're found later on, like 2 or 3 weeks later, and they have no recollection of what had happened. And I find that kind of weird. I mean, a lot of people like to say, well, these land triangles, there are big cave systems, which is true, like in the Michigan Triangle, and and certainly in the Nevada Triangle and the Alaskan Triangle. People go missing and they blame it on the cave systems that they get in. They go spelunking into these caves and just end up getting disoriented, and they don't come back.
But why would they remember it?
Look at the 411. I said, look at the 411 cases. It's all over.
Right.
And again,
right.
You question: Are we? Is there more vortexes or gateways open that we don't know about?
One of the explanations they have for the Nevada Triangle is that when people go flying through there is a wind system because, of the high desert and the high cliffs and all of that. And there's a wind system that takes people right out of the air. However, why can't they find their planes? There was this one guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a very wealthy guy, and he was a pilot, and he was a seasoned pilot. And he went flying through there and ended up missing. And I want to say it was like 3 years later, they finally found his plane, but he was nowhere in sight. Now, you can attribute that to the idea that perhaps he was eaten by animals. And, no bones would even be left behind. However, it seems strange to me that the seasoned pilot who had been flying for years and years and years couldn't navigate through this wind system,
The updrafts, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And wouldn't he know better than to go through that area? So, yeah, I find it very strange, that whole case.
And you just wonder, how are they finding the planes? Are they finding them like they just landed, or are they crashed? Is there any sign of
his was
them
crashed,
trying to get out or whatever?
Yeah, his was obviously crashed. It was mangled. But yeah.
Mr. Catfish, I'm from New Jersey originally, but we're in Vegas. He's asking where we were from.
Ohio.
California.
I was going to say, and Kim's not.
Yeah, I've lived all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, California, Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, New Orleans, Florida. Just
I've been in Washington State, Texas, here, Florida. I think that's it. A few places.
Wild is in the room too.
Hey,
what's up, Wild? I
Hey.
hope you're feeling better.
Hey, wild guy.
Yeah, Wild couldn't join us today because he got his booster shot and made him feel like hell. So,
Feel better, dude.
Kim, what were you telling us about the booster that you got, and it made you made your blood sugar go up?
Oh my God. They don't tell you anything like that. But I mean, that was the only symptom that I got. I didn't get the sore arm. I didn't get a fever. I didn't get the flu, sick, anything like that. And it was by chance the day after Thanksgiving, I checked my blood sugar. It was off the charts. It was over 300. I had no symptoms of it, but it took me 3 weeks, almost to the day, to get it down to normal.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they were going to have to start giving me insulin. I hadn't been on medication for 6-7 years. I've been regulating my blood sugar with food, but it was crazy. I couldn't do anything.
Terry and I just found out that our son-in-law, he just found out today that he's got COVID, and so
That's too bad.
yeah. But anyway, we probably shouldn't talk about COVID because YouTube doesn't like it, and we'll get dinged. So
Don't need that going on.
God, you know. But
Well, we were talking about triangles from all over the world, and you were talking about the China Triangle. Is that a more recent triangle? Is there stuff have been happening recently on that?
I don't know if anything recent, but it's been well known for a long time. It's if you drew a line from the Bermuda Triangle straight across, that they're directly into the other end.
Is it still on water or is it on land?
It's water, like the Bermuda Triangle. But they said that it's much worse than the Bermuda Triangle as far as things missing.
So how come Bermuda is more famous or more well known than this one?
because the reports have been around longer than any other ones. So, but again, I don't know a lot about that China Triangle. I think they call it the Devil's Sea, don't they? But anyway, is it like the Bermuda Triangle where it's a trade route?
That I'm not positive on. I wouldn't say. But I think it's even bigger than the Bermuda Triangle, if I'm not mistaken.
I've also
but they
heard
said it's a lot more.
That I've heard that the Bermuda Triangle is actually shifting northward,
closer to like up along Florida and along there, right?
Yeah, and it's even going upwards toward like South Carolina.
Huh.
Now, I got a question. How do they know that the lines have actually shifted? There had to have been cases for them to identify that, right?
There were cases.
Right.
For the longest time, you didn't get any reports. And until, like I said, about 2, maybe 3 years ago, there was this one incident that happened in December, and they called off the search in January. But prior to that, there wasn't a lot of reports, but there were reports coming in, on occasion. And some of these
not
reports
like it was before.
No, but some of these reports were coming from a little more northward on the Floridian coast, and the eastern seaboard. But not just with the disappearances, but like these land triangles, like the Alaskan Triangle, as well as the Michigan Triangle. There's a lot of paranormal stuff that happens there, and in exuberant amount.
Right. especially UFO sightings.
UFO sightings, also ghost stuff. But
Yeah, ghost ships.
well, not ghost ships necessarily, but in the Michigan Triangle, over that lake, there are ghost ships that
Yeah, I
have been
think Lake
reported.
Erie even has some as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a triangle up there too.
So, and
All the
my
Great Lakes have one.
but my point is that, or my question is why? Why are there these triangles that have a lot of paranormal and mysterious things happening there?
Well, along with that
Uh,
question is, why are they triangles?
Yeah, why always a triangle?
There you go.
Again, there's your pyramid shape again.
You know?
Yeah, but these triangles are not, they're more elongated a lot of times.
Yeah. Three-sided, even though pyramids are four.
Right.
You know, and
a lot of
these,
times you have the nuclear power plants along those lines as well.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
But I mean, with the Michigan Triangle, the Nevada Triangle, and the Alaskan Triangle, they're in heavily forested areas where these things happen. The Nevada Triangle, not so much. In fact, I don't even know why they call it the Nevada Triangle, because it goes from Las Vegas to Reno and out into California to, I can't remember. Chat room, do you guys remember? But most of it is desert, you know, here until you get up toward like northern Nevada, like Reno, you know. And then even in California, where the majority of the triangle is, it's
what about
very
the
heavily
magnetic fields? I wonder if they have anything to do with it.
I don't know. How would that explain, though, people just turning up missing?
Yeah.
You know,
I got nothing on that one. And then again, I got nothing.
I can see that being the thing with the mechanics not working on a plane or a vehicle or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't attest
But the
to
people just up and missing, yeah. There's got to be more to it, like I said.
Well, and like I said, was saying about the Nevada Triangle, people go hiking through there. It's not just planes that end up missing, but people go hiking through there and they just end up missing. And like I said, sometimes they come back, and like 3 weeks later with no knowledge of what had happened.
See, and that's the thing that gets me is why don't they remember?
Well, it's not even that they don't remember. It's like they go through some sort of time warp. And when they're told you've been gone for 3 weeks, they're like, we just got here yesterday. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, so I find that really suspect, especially when you're talking about UFOs, aliens, that possibility, you know? So
I think we're going to have to throw another character into play here too, because I've been watching documentaries because I'm a geek like that, where you've got little children that come up missing and they're miles away, you know, in a short period of time. And they've been asked, you know, how did you get here? Well, a big, you know, bear brought me here. A bear is not going to do that. A bear is not going to, you know, just literally miles and miles away.
So what are you thinking?
I mean,
are you thinking it's like the Sasquatch as a?
I am, because that would make sense, because, you know, again, you're in forested areas, you're in areas where they would have plenty of food. And it's not like they're not known. You've even got some states where there's even signs posted about them as well.
signs posted about what again?
About Bigfoot. I think it's Colorado's the one that I've seen.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that sign actually.
Yeah. But it's not the only one though. That's the only one I can think of right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can come into play, and all of it paranormal actually. Because, like I said, you've got all the 411 cases, for the most part, they're not coming up, and they're not being found or any remains found, but yet there are some cases where there are. For the most part, they're not. I mean, we're talking thousands that come up missing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, how many thousands of people go missing in America alone every year?
Right.
And they're just gone, and nobody has any idea what happened to them.
And it's always like in state parks or whatever, some kind of park where it's heavily forested. A lot.
Well, and I can see that it's kind of easy to get lost if you don't know where you are in a forest.
But then again, you've got some that are tracker, that know the tracks and everything, that make those walks all the time, and they're still, they're seasoned walkers or whatever they're called. But still, the climbers, they still come up missing. That doesn't make sense, especially if they know the place and they stay on the paths or whatever.
But like the Michigan Triangle has a lot of other weird stuff involved with it. I mean, they have like the dogman sightings. They have Bigfoot sightings. They have lake monster sightings. And, I mean, so you
Lake
don't hear
Erie's
about
known for having one too.
Right. You don't hear about sea monsters out in Bermuda, So why is it like the Michigan Triangle? Why is it like that? I mean, as well as all of the UFO sightings they have in that area, as well as the paranormal, the ghost stuff that they have there. I mean, that whole area is beyond mysterious, And I just wonder why there are hot spots like that in these triangles.
Again, I'm going to throw out, I feel it has something to do with the nuclear power plants, the runoff into the lakes. We don't know how they would, pull the nuclear, whatever they're needing out from there. And there could be something that leaches into the water that they're using, whether it's radiation or whatever. We don't know. But we've heard of Lake Erie having supposedly an underwater base. That doesn't surprise me none.
No.
It's fresh water. Do they use that for the cooling? I mean, what are other than hiding out of sight, out of mind. And what better places than right underwater?
Wild says everyone should have a satellite tracker on them. They're cheap now. That way they can be found if they are lost in the woods, crash off a bridge, or get kidnapped. I couldn't agree with you more, because I think a lot of these people that end up missing in these dense woods are novice hikers. They're not all professional hikers.
No.
So I think he's right. I think that there should be like a personal GPS.
Are you talking about like a bracelet or something on you that?
Right.
Like
okay, my first thought was
even.
Oh, okay. My first thought was that you're talking about something that implanted in you, which the conspiracy things start talking.
Couldn't they do that with the phone? Couldn't they do that on your phone or something like that?
Sure.
Yeah. But
then again, at some point you're gonna lose
signal.
You're gonna lose signal, yeah.
Right.
But still, they should be able to find the last ping, or that would give them some inclination as to the just about the whereabouts that you were last.
Mm-hmm. If they're looking for you.
Right. There just seems to be so much more going on anymore.
I'm almost finding it difficult that there is a spot that doesn't get a signal, because it just seems to me like there's signals, there's satellites everywhere. How come we still have blind spots? How come we still have spots?
Especially with 5G. I mean,
Right.
that's much more powerful, you know?
I don't know, if you go into like a valley area and you're enclosed by, walls of,
Mountains.
like mountains or whatever, you're going to lose it.
Yeah, but I don't
But hell,
understand why.
I lose it right here though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have we said we've lost it in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're in the
same
wrong
thing here.
spot.
And
Yeah,
we've got
that's
5G.
crazy.
Right.
You know? That's why we're all nuts.
Yeah, but it's not always gone though. I mean, it's like, yeah, it might drop for a little bit, but it just seems
That's that aggravating.
Yeah.
Long
It just
before
seems
we
odd
ever
that-
had it, how did we live?
Right. I was wondering that the other day. When I leave the house and I forget my phone, I'll turn off the
Go into
car
a
to come
panic.
back and get it because I feel naked
Go in-
without it. It's like
Because
I don't feel secure without
It's like
my
an
phone on it.
appendage. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
like an appendage.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
I
the last
remember
thing
as
you
a
see at night.
I remember I did though, waiting for somebody to come pick me up because I didn't have a car at the time. And I'm just sitting there going, you're trying to call, and nobody's answering. It's because they're not at home. They're, I don't know, stuck at a gas station or whatever. They ran out of
Right.
gas and there's no phone on them. It's like, and you put all the quarters in the phone.
Right.
So glad all that's done. But yeah, I think it was horrible what we used to go through now. And yeah, I
And
always
now
have my
it's so
phone.
easy, but you still have others complaining about everything. And yet they have no idea of what it used to be like.
Oh my God. with the phones that were attached to the wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Seriously. How did we do it? I don't know.
Well, we played
Because-
with the cord around our finger.
Right.
But I mean, if we had to revert back to landlines only, I don't know what the hell I'd do, honestly. Because, like I said,
I
if I
have
don't
no
have
problem.
really, if
I
I don't have my
don't.
phone on me, I feel ugh, makes me shaky.
That is my social life, actually, because I stay at home researching, watching documentaries and shit. I really am a geek. Reading, true story. I mean, so if I'm talking to somebody, damn, that I just got out.
No,
I'm
I
the
really
same
like
way,
having
though.
my phone, but at the same time, I can see going back to that, but only for a short time. I couldn't see.
It would be so much quieter and people be more relaxed.
No,
You don't
I
think so?
disagree.
You don't think so?
I disagree. No, I
I
disagree.
have no problem.
People would sit there, they'd be trying to call everybody. First of all, they'd have to remember the phone number.
Yeah,
have their
isn't
list
that
of phone
something?
numbers. And then you
We were
couldn't get
so
through to
smart
the other
then.
person.
We were so smart then. We could remember numbers.
Call waiting if you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Memory lane, sorry.
You're fine. I was just
So
thinking,
anyway. Getting back to these triangles, do you, with the Michigan Triangle, honestly, Kim, do you think it could pretty much all be attributed to the nuclear waste?
I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised. I mean, just like I said, there've been reported, possibilities of or confirmations of bases underneath each of the lakes. I mean, we I'm nearest to Lake Erie, and I've got pictures and everything, and there's always reportings, sightings and everything around, and it's usually around the nuclear power plants. You have a lot of flyovers as well. I mean, we get the black helicopters especially at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, busy sky at night. You got the nuclear power plant, Davis Bussey, and then you got NASA just miles away, and that's a runway right there.
I personally think that a lot of what these triangles are, and I don't want to say this flippantly, but I really think aliens have a lot to do with this. And
I agree.
I do believe that there are underwater bases out there in these triangles, and why they're there is beyond me. But I don't think that aliens would have anything to do with, say, like the Michigan Dogman in that triangle, or Bigfoot necessarily, unless Bigfoot is actually one of those interdimensional creatures or whatever, an alien species, like some people think.
And we've talked about it before, where if there's been reported sightings, if you see a UFO, usually sometimes they'll see a Bigfoot or vice versa. I mean, reportings on that. But not always.
I don't think that they would have anything to do with the hauntings that occur in that area. Like in the Alaska Triangle, there's a lot of hauntings. And what would aliens have to do with that?
Well, I'm just wondering if that's just, because a lot of stuff has happened in those areas, that those entities are, they're either stuck there like a haunted house or something along those lines.
But keeping with the alien theory, is it possible that aliens are drawn to these paranormal triangles for some reason?
Well,
sure,
like
why
I
not?
said, it could. Right. What about, just like I said, what about the magnetic fields? They could be crossing or have more energy in that area. Portals, gateways, we don't know. Could be anything.
I was thinking that.
I mean,
too.
and it seems like again that there is more portals and gateways, that have been talked about in different areas. And we talk of only the United States. We don't even know what goes on in other countries, such as ours, to link a report anyhow.
Well, I know that there's a triangle in the UK somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is, but they have the same situations, such as the Alaskan Triangle or the Michigan Triangle or Nevada Triangle. But yeah, so I mean, these triangles are all over the place, really. What's that? The Baltic Sea is part of a triangle.
Yeah,
which would explain a lot for the weird stuff that happens there.
That craft or whatever.
No, not necessarily. I think that that's been pretty much debunked as to being just an odd formity at the bottom of the ocean. But
I don't know, can't call that.
There's other things where people have gone missing in the Baltic Sea, and so yeah, and a lot of UFO sightings there.
And see, I just wonder, like the amount of different types of cryptids that we have here, I wonder how that compares to other places as well. Because we know that every country has them. But at what length do they compared to how we do?
Well, I think we certainly have more Bigfoot sightings here than they do in other countries.
Each country has, they have their own.
Each country has them. Each country has them, but the reports are less than they are here in the United States.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just wonder about that.
Yeah. And I know Mexico has a lot of reports of Bigfoot and other cryptids as well. But where these sightings are occurring are happening inside triangles. And I just wonder why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me,
There has to be something to it.
And like I said, you were mentioning that maybe the attraction for aliens is possibly crystals and magnetic energy and that sort of thing. But that doesn't explain Bigfoot, dogmen, other cryptids.
Right. Correct.
So, I mean, why are they attracted to these areas? Yeah, I don't know.
Again, they've got full coverage. I mean, I'll tell you what. I just watched something. The one here in Ohio at Salt Fork National Park. It's called the Grassman. He's an aggressive one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he was active not too long ago, as a matter of fact.
Really? I haven't heard reports about the Grassman in a while. Maybe 2 or 3 years.
Right. Yeah, this was recent. But again, they've got all the things in nature, as far as coverage, food, water. They've got it. They don't need for anything else. They've got, a lot of them built their own places to live, as far as, like a hut or something like. Mm-hmm. And then you've got some of them that live in caves and that are underground. I just wonder, like the Jersey Devil, where's that guy living? Mothman.
Mothman, yeah, that's one.
Is he hanging out in like old factories or what? I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, again, though, I mean, there's a huge cave system on the eastern seaboard and from the Midwest out to the eastern seaboard. So, I mean, any number of these cryptids could be hanging out in these caves, That's why you'd never find me spelunking into caves, because I think that they do dwell there,
And, there's got to be more than one. You're not just going to have one. So if you hear about one, there's got to be others.
Sure, right. Sure. Families.
Because, I mean, what, did it just get popped out here? That don't happen like that. They're going to come out.
Unless they're interdimensional.
Unless they're interdimensional?
Yeah.
Good point.
And they could just be one popping in.
Or they got dropped off and couldn't get back right away.
I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I just can't get my head around this whole interdimensional Bigfoot thing. I really can't.
It makes sense to me.
Does it? I just think it's flesh and blood. It's yeah. So I mean, I can understand why somebody would think that, but I just can't get my head around.
I mean, they're very elusive. I mean, but then again, look at aliens. They can be like in a spirit or like a fluid, like what the hell? What's that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger where it wasn't, he could see it. It was like in waves.
You got me.
The alien Predator.
That. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to have a structure. When we die, our soul doesn't have a structure. It's energy. We don't know what kind of molecular levels they have.
I think that there are interdimensional aliens, and and they would shapeshift, but I don't think they're all like that.
No, I wouldn't say all of them, but I believe that there's some. But then again, why wouldn't they have like animals or creatures that they have on their side? And who's to say Bigfoot isn't one of those? Just a question.
Yeah. Again,
throwing
it's
it out
possible.
there.
Right.
Possible, but you
got to make this entertaining. I mean, the possibilities are endless,
Of course, because we don't know.
I don't know. I remember seeing that one video. Maybe it was a documentary. I'm not even sure now. Where we're watching Bigfoot, and it's like he passes over a tree, and then he's not there anymore.
Right.
And I swear, it seems like it's got to be a portal.
Or they can change their molecular structure as well, just like aliens.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. I mean, it
Well,
makes sense.
yeah, either that or that video was a hoax. And I think I remember the documentary you're talking about, Terry. And it was made by that gentleman that Ralph and I interviewed on our podcast. And I have to be honest, when we were talking to this guy, and I'm not going to say his name because it wouldn't be right, but I didn't have a lot of faith in what he was saying, because he was one of these people who believed that Bigfoot is interdimensional. And when I saw the documentary and I saw that part you were talking about where Bigfoot walked behind a tree and then just disappeared, I have a feeling that that was hoax. I have a feeling that that was edited to look
I
that
was just
way.
going to say, yeah.
You know,
And
I
those
think that,
people get on my nerves that do that.
oh my,
Oh my
God.
God.
I
just,
hate,
oh,
we have enough problems in the
Yeah.
paranormal world. We don't need
Right.
these hoaxers. It just drives me crazy. It really does.
well, it makes true stories harder to believe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
something faked is just instantly taken, but the truth is harder to swallow. That's what irritates
really
me. It
is.
just, yeah, on anything. I don't care what subject it is. If you're faking it, you're on my nerves.
Well, and you know what bothers me about this is that I'm tired of I don't really give a damn that much about what people think about me, but I'm tired of being
Yeah.
called a nut for the things that I've experienced. Whether it's, Ralph and I both experienced all things under the paranormal umbrella. If it's not ghosts, it's aliens and UFOs and that kind of stuff.
Everything but cryptids.
And yeah, everything but cryptids.
Yeah, same here.
But-
same here.
But here's the thing: when people are called out and debunked as hoaxers, it makes us look even weird or worse, because people in general, when they find this out, they go, "Oh, well, then it's all bullshit."
Right.
So when Ralph and I talk about the experiences that we've had, we're immediately debunked, even though what we experienced was absolutely real,
It's called denial on their part, and because of fear, because they're afraid to face whatever truth there is.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not the type who are out there pimping books. We're not out there trying to make money off of this. We're just trying to explain to people, hey, we know what you're going through. If you've gone through this kind of stuff too, we know what it's like, and you're not crazy and you're not alone. And
Right.
So speaking of money,
you have no motive to lie. you
Yeah.
know?
Speaking of money, no, we're not trying to make money off of our experiences. However, if you like what we do here and you'd like to contribute, in the description, there is a link for Buy Me a Coffee, and you can donate whatever you like. And it's a one-time shot kind of deal. You can do it multiple times if you like. That'd be great. But because we're not monetized on YouTube. Not yet. Soon. Not yet. But anyhow, I think we should probably get out of here for the night. There's only so much we can speculate on these triangles and what causes them. And so, I mean, I don't think we could go on much longer about it. But
What about the cryptids?
what do you guys think? What about the cryptids?
Like there's so many of those as well. I mean, and there's different ones from different areas. Like you guys probably have something out that way that we don't have out this way.
We've
Like
got
in Mexico,
very little.
they've got the chupacabra.
Yeah, we've got very little here in Nevada. Actually, there have been some chupacabra sightings, which are, in my opinion, nothing more than coyotes with mange. And then we have a lake monster up near Reno. I'll be damned if I can remember the name of that. Do you remember?
No.
But that's about it in Nevada. I mean, we have enough weird stuff in the Vegas area. We don't need any more.
We see a lot of UFO.
We see
Yeah.
we see UFOs most definitely. I mean, everybody says I want to see a UFO, and I'm saying come out to Vegas. You know,
shouldn't be that
look up.
difficult out that way. Well, same
Yeah.
thing over here in the lakes too. I mean, be it no matter what season, day or night, you know, you're bound to see something. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just, it's like they litter the sky without fail. And then, but then again, you've got the ones that are cloaked. So you don't know how many's out there.
Right.
You just don't know what all's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
I mean,
speaking of cloaking, I mean, I think that contributes a lot to the fact that we get such blurry videos of UFOs, because I think that they're cloaking themselves. Ralph and Terry and I saw a cylindrical, I wouldn't say it would look like one of those Tic Tac things, but we saw a cylindrical, shiny object go over our house very slowly. And it had like a black orb that went around the circumference of the thing. And it was going so slow that we all tried to get it. I mean, Ralph had his tablet, my wife had her phone, and I had my handheld video camera. None of us could get it into frame.
Nope.
Although we could see it with our naked eye.
Yeah, but stop and think about it too. They also can mess with the electronics. They could shut down your car and everything. That's known to be.
Yep.
So, you know, there's probably reason for that. You're probably in some kind of like a radar area of theirs or whatever within a energy field, I want to say.
But then why is it some people get video and other people like us, and it was close, we couldn't get it at all? You know, I mean, I don't understand.
Again,
they do mess with the electronics.
Yeah,
they do mess with
go
electronics.
Back to the same.
It happened to me during the abduction thing. I mean, my car just stalled out. Yeah. So they do. I know they do mess with electronics, and I theorize that, or hypothesize, I should say, that they know when they're being photographed. And I think that that's when they go into this cloaking method.
And they don't even have to be within a cloud, you know, behind a cloud or whatever. I mean, they can cloak themselves.
Right.
And again, it could be to do with some kind of like force field or, you know, energy field around them to where it's going to be scrambled.
Well, I remember that one time we were watching something in our backyard, and it was almost like there was a like a door here and a door here, and we were watching this thing. It would go, it would pass this and disappear, and then it would come back, and then it would reach this side, and it would disappear. And then we were watching this thing going back and forth, but it would disappear for a little bit after it passed like these barriers. So
sounds like vortexes or whatever, gateways, like they just went into another dimension.
And this was up by we were looking north toward Nellis Air Force Base. And I think that there's a lot of people always talk about Area 51 and S4 and all of that, but I think there's a lot of nefarious stuff that happens out of Nellis too. I really do.
Oh, look at Wright Air Force Base over here.
Mm-hmm.
Wright Patterson.
Isn't that where they supposedly took the
everything
Roswell crash UFO wreckage?
Mm-hmm. And beings as well.
I wonder.
I mean, that goes down. And see, people wonder why you get sinkholes. Well, look at all the underground tunnels and everything. If people go online, you can see all the underground tunnels. It's a spider web across the United States, much less the whole world.
We had a big problem with sinkholes when Terry and I lived in Florida. That's one of the reasons I was very glad to leave that place. One of them opened up. Yeah, one of them opened up in our neighbors, under our neighbor's house.
Wow.
And so
that's too close. Oh, too close.
Yeah.
Too close. We're like, okay, bye.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and everything's going inside of there. I mean, you got them in the waters and everything else. Where's all that going?
Yep.
It's going somewhere.
Okay, it's going to China. It's going. It's always what I think about. You sit there as a kid, dig
Go
a hole,
straight through. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Well, then we get into the whole hollow earth theory, and I really don't want to go there tonight.
We can go there. We can go there.
We'll save it for another episode, actually. But,
There you go.
I don't believe in the flat earth at all. But I think
my God,
there's some,
no, please.
I think there's some validity to this whole hollow earth thing. I think that there's a lot of the earth that we just have not yet to discover,
Right. I believe it too.
So anyway, yeah, let's get out of here.
All right.
Folks, thanks a lot for watching. As always, keep thinking and question everything.
Thanks, guys.
Night, everybody.